So globally, ocean renewable energy has been growing this past 10 years. And in Southeast Asia, we are looking at the tropical region and adopting these technologies for marine renewable energy in the Southeast Asian countries. One of the major challenges that we keep on facing if we pitch to, let's say, agencies or VCs, people who have funding to support clean tech startups, would be the market, which is marine renewables for our case, is not yet developed, or it's still developing. So there's almost as if a risk-averse mentality to going into something which is not yet there, but could be there. And the first mover advantage is perhaps not yet in the mindset of people who want to go and fund, unless you bring in very, very convincing argument that the world out there is moving very, very quickly. If we don't act now, we're going to miss it.
The largest energy consumption is in the industrial segment, right? And if you look at industrial segments around the world, they consume more than 50% of the energy around the world. And there's not much new changes in their segments. You know, the same players are there 10, 20, 30 years ago are still the same players there. So we went in there and then we start to look for ways to, what can be changed there. And the biggest differences that we see in the industrial segment is that when you talk about energy, all these different plants, they know how much they consume. But if you just ask the very, very fundamental questions, how much do you consume? They know how much they pay, but most of them don't know how much they consume. And furthermore, if you start drilling more questions, how much do you need? This is the question that governments, enterprises around the world are unable to answer. So if you think through, you kind of know how much you consume, you don't know how much you need, how can you possibly save energy and know how much you waste? So these are the questions that we are set up to address for our clients. And by answering these two questions, we help them understand how much they're wasting, thus able to save more energy.
We looked at what are the solar chargers out there, how can we make it better, cheaper, and we've addressed this opportunity somewhat in a few countries around the world. By creating solar charging faster, adding more features. We've created a pay-per-use model for phone charging in India, and we are actually rolling out as we speak, where village entrepreneurs can get our kit for as low as $50, and can actually enable consumers to get the battery for charging their phone or their light at what we call as 5 to 7 rupees a pop. And the village entrepreneur earns a livelihood, and they can recover the cost of their equipment in less than 5 months.
A lot of the time in the environment industry, we tell people bad stuff is coming. And that energizes people in this room and other climate change conferences. Everyone outside, it just turns them off. They've got their own lives to live. So if you tell people bad stuff is going to come, they won't listen to you. You won't be heard. However bad the charts are, however much you tell disasters coming, they won't listen to you. So you have to communicate in a positive way and how you're going to help people to create better lives for themselves and their children.
There's no standard protocols in IoT right now. Everyone is trying to define theirs. But whichever you decide to use, at the end of the day, clients only care about how is it not affecting my daily operations. As long as you can do that and it's cost effective, most of them are willing to adopt the solutions. The biggest challenge for us right now is really people, you know, how to hire better people, how to hire people that can work in this industry. Because for energy, for clean tech, you need people that have domain expertise, but you also need people who come from programming backgrounds, IT backgrounds. And these two people, at least in our company, to get them to talk is very challenging.
If you have a great idea, with that comes, Spider-Man would say, great responsibility, but also a great amount of effort to make that happen. And as I think other entrepreneurs would agree, it's not just the passion about doing what you think is good. There's also grit. Grit to really pushing forward despite the adverse things that come and face you. You're not building just your product. You're building the ecosystem around it to make the product happen and have value.